Let's see if this is it.
All right, I'd like to call to order meeting of the Westfield Parks and Rec Commission meeting Monday, November 8th, 2021. Take a quick roll call here. We have got, let's see, Scott LeBombard.
Here.
Ken McGarrion.
Here.
Sarah Unger.
Here.
Bob Vernesi.
Where?
Bob's here. Vin Alinsky. Then you're on mute, but I saw you gesture.
Okay.
Jane DeBarbieri is not here. Mike Terrell is here. I know that guy. And Doug Morash is not here. Okay. First order of business. Approval of minutes on the meeting of October 18th, 2021. Anybody have any comments? Everybody get a chance to review the minutes? And is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Vinnie, seconded by Scott LeBombard. Any further discussion? Okay. Seeing none, I'll take roll call. Scott LeBombard.
Okay.
Did I miss you, Scott?
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Yes. Ken McGarrion.
Yes.
Sarah Unger.
Yes.
Bob Vernesi.
Yes.
Vinnie Alinsky.
Yes.
Mike Thoreau is a yes. Okay. Public participation. Is anybody here that is not on the agenda that would like to participate for up to 3 minutes per person? Seeing none. City Council communications. Our friend Mr. Morganelli is here with us this week, this month rather. Nick, any communications that you'd like to provide from City Council?
Just a few items, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, and hello, everybody from the commission. Appreciate all the work you do. I just wanted to ask a question first, and then I have two things to update you on. But how is the damage to our parks as far as what you're hearing? Because I know there's been issues with trash, with nip bottles, broken glass at the fire pits at the Great River Bridge area. I don't know about the rail trail. I'm just wondering how parks are faring as far as damage goes lately.
Yeah, so that would be a really good question. Hey, look at Mr. Hathaway. There he just appeared like out of nowhere.
I heard trash.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that, Scott?
Yeah, it's a constant battle, really. We're always trying to keep up. We're down about 3 people as well, and hopefully we'll get those positions filled. Like Rick Hayden is still on the books, and he's not there. He's not here, but he's still on the books for a couple more weeks. And yeah, it's but there hasn't been a huge spike. I haven't seen anything that's abnormally trending as far as the same as the usual trash that we have, or graffiti or whatnot.
And the reason I asked too is if there's any funding opportunities for better lighting, maybe a camera, or even if we need extra police patrol in a certain park. I mean, please let me know, and I'll certainly advocate for that to our police department as well. So that's just my reason for asking. People did bring that concern to me, and I've seen it in in the news as well. So thank you, Scott. The other thing is thank you for the Parker Memorial Park. Looking forward to Veterans Day and the parade and ceremony at the park, and for taking out those shrubs and allowing it to be more accessible. I did mention that at the council meeting on Thursday at the very end of the meeting, so that anyone watching can understand that it's fully accessible, and they're welcome to come down and not have an issue getting in and out of there. As far as the, if you think back to April and May and June, when we were talking about the potential for a flag ordinance, so that this commission could have something to lean on and look at for flying a flag on the green, that was removed. The motion was removed without prejudice. The city solicitor needs to look at that a little bit more closely, Solicitor Reed and Fitzgerald, and there's some things they want to make sure, because of the authority to utilize that flagpole. Because it lies with the commission, because the flagpole is on park land. That's one issue, and then the content of what we want to put on there, what we want to allow to go up on the flagpole. So there's those two things, and the content is pretty well spelled out in the draft ordinance, but and it makes it fair for everybody. And it of course, there's nothing hateful that would go up there or anything like that. Discriminatory in that sense. It's all spelled out in the draft, but I think that the city solicitor just said that they need a little more time to look at it. So we'll bring it back sometime in 2022 and look at it again, and it'll be well before the the flag flying season may come around, the spring and summer and that kind of thing. That's all. And I did mention Chairman Terrell's comments to me on the flag ordinance, that generally the commission, when you take a vote on whether to allow a sign somewhere or something, utilizing you look at the ordinance to see what's there and rely on that for guidance. So that's what we're hoping to do. That's all I have, and thank you for your time.
Councilor Morganelli. Just a couple of quick notes based on some of the items that you mentioned. Mr. Coles did mention that just before the meeting, and it's just before you probably joined, Nick, just talking about vandalism. We've lost the camera on top of the press box down at Westfield that was stolen recently. Well, it was noticed recently. I don't know that we know exactly when it was stolen. And the other item that I wanted to bring up regarding Parker Park, and we'll talk a little bit more about sort of the longer range plans when we get down to Scott's report a little bit later on. But Scott and his team did get in there and really opened that up quite a bit, removed some shrubs so that not only the park itself is more accessible to get into it, but it's also more maneuverable, particularly for folks that need a hard surface to be able to either walk on or use a wheelchair on within the park itself. So hopefully folks find that to be a little more user friendly here for Memorial Day, or for Veterans Day rather, and then going into next spring, hopefully we'll be able to incorporate some new plans for the layout down there as part of the bigger plan. Okay. Next item up is we've got Bob Bernesi and Don Wilgus talking about the monument and approval for the monument and the placement of that down at Kane and Wojciechowicz Park. Don or Bob, did you guys want to talk through that?
Yes, good evening. Don Wilgus here, project manager. George Barnett, chairman of the Purple Heart, and Sandra Parker here, secretary. And forgive us for not showing up on the screen, but we're still having problems hooking and zooming. So I want to thank Chico for coming down and looking at where we were planning on putting this monument. Let me say, we did order the monument, and it's coming out of India, and we're hoping to put this all together by Memorial Day of next year. But prior to that, we would like other folks from the Park and Rec to come down and make sure we're doing something legal and something that the public will see for years to come. Because it's where we're putting it is where the Purple Heart Trail comes from Hoyoke all the way into Southwick, and it will pass Wichkevich and Kane Park, and the monument will be there on top of the cobblestone at Kane Wichkevich Park. And what we're looking for is somewhat of an okay to go. And then,
Need it said?
please.
Say again, Don, I'm sorry.
And we're looking for an okay to continue this project and put it up there for the veterans, because the stone will be in red. And that's where the stone like that comes from India. And it would be the blood of a veteran. And it will honor the veterans throughout the city here, because right now we got over 4,000 some odd veterans buried in all 6 cemeteries. And we just want to continue letting people know that veterans in Westfield went out to serve their country, come back. And today's generation, many of the kids, they think World War I and World War II is a video game. We want to continue letting people know that there are people that made the freedom we enjoy today by the men and women that served their country.
Mike,
Got it. Hi, Karen.
Bob would like to let you all know that he agrees with the placement of the monument.
Okay, thank you. So Don, were you asking for more folks to come down and view that placement, or obviously Bob's been there. He's looked at it. He agrees with the placement. Would you feel more comfortable if more folks came down just to see it, or are you proposing?
Well, anything the Purple Heart Trail does in Westfield, we purchase everything from Westfield, as far as signs or anything like that. And what we like to do is, before we decide where permanently would replace it or put it, we would like other people to look at it, making sure that everybody's agreeable. And we just want an okay to continue this. We don't need anything right now. And Chuck Blood from Smith Monument is the one in charge of creating this whole thing. And I think, I don't know if you folks got the email we sent out, the way it looks and the size of it, but he's the one that's going to be creating most of it. Plus it's coming out of Vermont, where they're going to carve a flag on top of the stone, and it's going to be we want it to be very impressive. So certainly we want to follow procedure, and they told us to follow by going to Park and Rec, and we thank you for listening to us on this project.
Thanks, Don. So just looking at the email that you mentioned with the dimensions, it looks like it's the base of it is about 5 feet wide. One side of it looks like 3.6 feet or 3 feet 6 inches, and the other side is 2 feet 6 inches. Yeah, and there's
Mike,
Bob.
Mike,
Yeah, I see Bob's holding up the picture. That's the glossy. The one that I'm looking at is unfortunately black and white, but yeah, the one Bob has is in color, and that is more, that's sort of a representation of what it is that would be going up there. So that left-hand side, if you're looking at the picture that Bob's holding up there, is about 3.5 feet. And the right-hand side is about 2.5 feet. That base is 5 feet wide, and the base height is looks like 0.8 feet. Yeah, very impressive stone. And yeah, Don, so if I understand correctly, you're looking for approval to continue with the project here tonight, and then you would ask that other commissioners come down and view where it's going to go prior to its final placement?
Yes, eventually, when we get the stone at Smith Monument, you folks can come down and look at it there. And then the final placement of the stone, well, we can all, or a few people can go up there and make sure, because it will be something that won't be movable. And all the logos on it are going to be in color and everything. It's going to be an impressive stone. We're on a foundation of trying to make up that $25,000 for this stone. And we got a fund drive going on right now. So it's going to be something I want people to come to Westfield and say, let's go see this monument they're talking about.
Got it. Okay, thanks, Don. Is there a motion to, what I'm gonna do is take a motion and then we'll get a motion in a second and then we'll continue if there's any further discussion from any of the commissioners. So is there a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that these folks are given permission to move forward with the placement of the stone. Second.
Second from Bob. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none. Seeing none, we'll take a vote. Scott LeBombard,
Yes.
Ken McGarrion,
Yes.
Sarah Unger,
Yes.
Bob Bernesi,
Yes.
Vinnie Olinsky,
Yes.
Mike Terrell is a yes. Thank you very much, Don and Bob. Appreciate your work on this. Looking forward to seeing the finished product.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having us. And we will continue with Chico on the project, making sure we follow all protocol. So we're going to shut off right now. We see all your pictures. They come in good. And maybe next time we talk, we can get our camera working. So you folks, happy Veterans Day, because Veterans Day is a day of thanking the living soldier. And if you see a soldier, just thank him for his service. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Okay, next item, Jeff Burke, skate park update location. I spoke with Mr. Burke earlier today. He and I have been going back and forth in terms of determining a location. We're hoping that the current location of the skate park is still going to be viable, and we're sort of marching down that path. I'm reaching out to and working with some of the folks down at City Hall just to make a determination as to where that land actually sits, who's in possession of it, and what sort of grants are available for it. So Jeff and I are on the same page on that. More to come on that here in the next couple of meetings. Unfortunately, Jeff had a work obligation tonight, so he wasn't able to make it. Next item, Dan Welch, Babe Ruth, goals for Bullens. Dan, welcome. I know you and I have talked at length about a bunch of the items here. These are not new items. These have been circulated with the commission, but would you like to take a couple of minutes and just talk about some of the initiatives down at Bullens that you're working on?
Yes, thank you, Mike. And I appreciate Mike's willingness to talk with me on numerous occasions to try to focus on some improvements. Babe Ruth has always done an annual maintenance situation, kept up the field as best we can, but about every 6 or 8 years, it needs major work to bring it back up to the expected standards for anybody that plays there. So we put together a list, talking with Scott Hathaway. Scott and I have walked the field a couple of times, and I walked it with the Starfires people. I walked it with Ryan Dunphy because both high schools play there. So he's the athletic director, representation on that side of it. And we put a list together of 13, what we thought were 13 items that the field could use, and then 3 at Yocum. I know Yocum's not in the purview of Park and Rec, but it's certainly an appropriate baseball facility. We use that as a backup. Babe Ruth has the privilege and appreciates the privilege from the city and Park and Rec to use Bullens, and I always try to put money back into it. We're willing to make a major investment from past success of the World Series in 2016 and 19. And we had a very successful regional tournament this past summer that gave us some fun. Our volunteers went above and beyond, and our corporate sponsors were phenomenal this year, best we've ever had. So we got some money that we want to put back into the field. So there was 13 items identified for Bullens. When Mike and I got into this about 3 or 4 weeks ago, the timing is critical for a few of the items because of weather. That the most of them, the maintenance items require cutting back some lips that build up over time with using the machines and raking and normal use of the field. And so you cut those lips out and you have to add sod back in to bring the field back into compliance size-wise for standard dimensions of a baseball diamond. Sod can be laid up until about the 15th or 18th, maybe the 20th of November. Once the ground freezes, we're locked out. So we got, again, we're willing to commit some money to it. The first 6 items were about $8,100. Babe Ruth initially said, sure, we'll pay that. We're also going to put $10,000 into dugouts at Yakum. And there was another item that we think will be, is item 9 on my list. It's called additional sod, lumen sod behind home plate to improve the looks and playability of the field. My budget on that was $14,500. I went back to our board last night. We're now going to commit $32,000, $32,500 for the first 6 items. We're also going to buy another batting cage. We're going to buy some field tarps, and we want to do that last piece, that item 9, to improve the aesthetics and looks of the field long term. So all those items will be paid for by Babe Ruth from our previous fundraising and tournament events. I did go to, at Mike's suggestion, knowing that there's not a significant budget available for Park and Rec, I sent a note last Friday to Mayor Humison with our list of projects and said, is there any free cash money available or other ways to get money from the city? My initial request and our list of all the projects, if we did them all, was $55,450 from the city, based on our initial contribution of $22,500, which we've now increased to $34,500, based on my discussion with our board last night.
Dan, real quick, can I interrupt you for a quick second?
Sure.
Peter Coles, are you online? Would you be able to enable screen sharing such that I could share this list that Dan is speaking of? Thank you. Dan, any concern with me sharing?
No,
this
none list? whatsoever. No.
You guys able to see the list of items?
Right, that makes it even better to talk about, Mike. Thank you. So items 1 through 6 was $8,100. The batting cages, and item 7 and 8, the batting cage, we actually need 2 new ones. We already have one we purchased already. And the mountain covers and plate covers are shot. And everything we're doing here is beneficial to Babe Ruth. It's beneficial to Westfield High School, Westfield Tech, who use that for their home field, as well as the Starfires and the American Legion.
And St. Mary's plays some games there too as well.
St. Mary's plays, they play North Middle more than, but they usually get 2 or 3 games on Bullens as well. So thanks for that reminder, Mike. Yes. Items 11, 12, and 13 are next spring or summer projects. Item 15 will definitely come before the Park and Rec Commission sometime on some chain link upgrades. Scott and I visited this, walked around that. There was some fencing done and installed for the pavilion that was put in 2 years ago to benefit the Starfires beer garden space. But the fencing was not properly spec'd out. It's inferior quality gauge of fencing, as well as it needs to be more. So that's a guesstimate on that price, but that's going to be an issue. So we're going to come up, I'm going to come back out to both Mayor Humison and Mayor-elect McCabe and see if there's some opportunity to get some money from some, but those 3 items aren't time critical. Everything else on the list, items 1 through 6 and item 9, are time critical because of sod work. The items 1 through 6 are actually started today. We hired Tim Howard Landscaping, and so starting to cut the sod back. and have sod scheduled to be delivered next week for those items that'll be put into place, which will make the field in perfect shape for April games for high school in Babe Ruth and in Starfires later in the season. I did seek some input from the Starfires, so they were well aware of what we're trying to do as well. But it was time to make some of these major investments. So I wanted to let the commission know that I am trying to get some other money. We've kind of maxed out our budget at between 32 and 34,000. My board's been really supportive to put that money into the field. And it comes from the community. It comes from sponsors from the World Series, 2 World Series that we held, as well as our regional tournament. So it's our pleasure to put that back in on top of the scoreboard that we did last year. That's about a $65,000 or $70,000 investment we put into the field in the last 2 seasons. It's our pleasure and to have the opportunity to do that. So I'll take any questions. I don't know that there's any action I'm requesting, except Mike said go ahead with items 1 through 6, which we're going forward. And with our additional funds from our league last night, Tim Howard's trying to sharpen his pencil for item number 9 to get it into the 10 to 12,000 range. And we'd pay for that one as well.
Yeah, so items 1 through 6, I think, we kind of look at like standard maintenance, things that we have to do every few years, cutting back sod, regrading. We do the same thing. Scott will attest, we do the same thing with the fields at Cross Street, the fields at any of the softball or baseball fields in town. Really, I think the idea here is that we're looking, as a group. I mean, it's great that we have folks in town and organizations in town here that are looking after some of our parks and our fields. So Dan, appreciate you bringing this stuff to our attention. And as you mentioned, as Dan mentioned, we're working on trying to get some funding for that, whether it be from spare cash or if we need to be able to get things into the budget for next year. I guess we'll open it up. I guess we'll open it up for any questions for Dan. But I think just like to sort of beyond that, once we're through that, a vote of approval in supporting the maintenance items that are listed here, particularly for Bullens Field, as as Yakum Field doesn't fall under Park and Rec purview. So any questions? Any questions for Dan at this point?
Dan, I've got one.
Hey, Ken.
Number 1, add sod to base lines. The actual path.
Yes, we've done some research. Westfield State has done it.
Right, exactly.
A field in in Wilbraham called Speck Pond gets nearly as much play as Bullens, and they've done that. It's cut down the maintenance significantly with having to rake it, and it gets muddy. With turf on it, it doesn't get muddy. So we're going to try that. We think that's both at Bullens and Yakum will be a tremendous improvement and save on maintenance long term.
Yeah, that's a good move. I just wanted to make sure everyone else was aware that that's what you meant.
Yes.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good.
Thanks, Ken. Yeah, go ahead, Karen and Bob.
Bob would like to know if the Starfires are contributing to any of these causes.
At this point, they have not been willing to do that. Again, I'm not speaking on their behalf at all, except I did ask for that. I told them they initially had the 22.5 to go in. We've increased it to 32.5 or 32.5 to 34,000, whatever needed to cover those other items. So I'll let them, you can approach that however you want to. They felt that their contributions of their rent was enough contribution towards field maintenance. So I'll leave it at that point. I did ask.
Any further questions for Dan? Okay.
I think one more is coming. If you could give me a second, please.
I sure can.
They should contribute.
What we can do is, I'll entertain a motion to just approve the continuation of this work pending funding coming together. Is there a motion to approve?
So move. Motion made.
Made by Ken, and is there a second?
Yes. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, is there a second to the motion?
I can second.
Second by Sarah Unger. Okay, further discussion. Karen, go ahead.
Yeah, Bob feels that the Starfire should be involved and contribute something to this cause.
Yeah, can appreciate that. I think there's still some conversations to be had in that area. I get, Dan mentioned their feelings in terms of the rent that's paid there to be put toward those initiatives. Again, the dollars and cents, I'm not sure if all of that adds up, but we'll definitely reach back out to them and continue to work with them in trying to get some of this maintenance done. Dan, anything to add to that?
I'll leave it at that. I've had that discussion and kind of paraphrase what they said to me. But
Well, Bob's on
I'm not their messenger.
on the phone.
Okay. Understood.
Play back over a while.
Okay, any other conversation?
No, but.
All right, motion's been made and seconded.
Sometimes he likes to.
We'll take a vote here. Scott LeBombard,
Yes.
Maybe in pet.
Ken Darian,
Okay.
Yes.
Bye.
Sarah Unger,
Yes.
Bob Bernesi,
Yes.
Vinnie Linsky,
Yes.
and Mike Thoreau is a yes. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate your time as
If I
always.
can make just one other comment, Mike, I want to thank Scott Hathaway for all his work. He's made significant improvements in the condition of the field at Bullens with his work the last couple of years, and he and I can communicate very well, and Scott's been a tremendous help for us.
You've been a big help to me too, Dan. And you guys got your groomer back, I see.
Yes, I hope you got yours back.
Yeah.
Scott lent us a groomer. Ours had to go to the shop, and so we were desperate during the season and then the fall ball, and Scott came through for us on that. So thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Mike. Thank you.
All right, schedule of bills. Did everybody get a chance to review the schedule of bills that was circulated by Peg?
Mike,
And are there any questions? Hi, Ken. Sure, go ahead.
just, is it I think Nick has left us. Was that, Nick is gone?
Yeah, he had to leave. Yeah, he had another meeting.
Too bad. Too bad. I was going to ask him, and maybe you can relay this, that I would hope that he brings to the city council, what Babe Ruth is doing at Bullens, saving the city a small fortune. That doesn't happen like that at other towns and communities. I'll tell you that right now. I wanted to tell Nick this myself. So maybe you could send him a note, or I will, that I hope he brings this up into the council of what's going on at Bullens and how much money is saved by the city of Westfield.
Yeah, I'd be happy to pass that on. I would encourage you to do the same. Good stuff to hear. Yeah, we're certainly lucky to have other organizations in town, particularly Babe Ruth and Little League, as well as others. I don't mean to leave anybody else out. But, those two in terms of baseball fields come to mind, baseball and softball. So yeah, good point there, Ken. Thank you. Schedule of bills. Any questions, comments, or concerns regarding the schedule of bills that were circulated?
Mike, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do we have any more granular information on gas and electric parks and playgrounds, where some of this is generated from?
In terms of like what specific parks they are?
yeah, what specific parks they are, and I'm just curious to find out what parks there are and what, I'm assuming the $1,200 bill is a monthly?
I'm making that assumption. Yeah, I'm making the assumption that the those line items on there are a month by month expense, but we could certainly get clarification on that.
Just curious.
There's generally a line item, right? Each month. Some months obviously more than others. But yeah, we can see if there's any more granular data for park by park. I can send Peg a note in the morning and see if that's available.
Cool.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Monthly staff reports. Scott, since you are present with us here, would you like to go first?
So like we talked about, we got the taxes, the Japanese use removed, made a huge impact. Grass was planted. We could do whatever we want with it, but I had a couple ideas and I just want to run it by you guys. You tell me what you want, what do you want to see, and we can all work together to put something together. My ultimate goal is to get the park completely renovated into something that's up to date, and which also is going to cost a lot of money. But I'm trying to get working with the university up at UMass to help me with some designs that we can look at and then go from there as far as getting grants and whatnot. But for the short term, the grass is planted, that's starting to come in. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the grass that I wanted because I can't even get any. I can't get grass right now. I was lucky to have the bags that I had. So unfortunately, I didn't get the kind that I wanted, but this is starting to pop. But unfortunately, it's not going to be where I wanted it to be by the 11th. One of the guys had made a suggestion to use, we have tons of planters. I mean, we've probably got 30 planters, concrete planters that we could use, say, in place of where the bushes are, or I'm just throwing these out. There's all sorts of different shapes of planters. Just trying to come up with something that was a little bit less maintenance and something that's a little more controllable that we could use or try, because it'd be something that if it doesn't work, we can, always pull them and get rid of the planters if no one likes them. But just that was an idea, and I just wanted to throw that. And maybe you guys have ideas that, as far as design goes in a park, I'm not a designer, but I can see a few things, and hopefully you guys can maybe have some ideas and some direction on what you want to see.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be in favor of, bringing in a group of folks to maybe give us some ideas as to what they might, somebody that knows, design, as well as sort of characteristics of the various plants and plantings and everything that, what types of things work well together. I don't know if I'm just kind of throwing it out there, but I mean, does it make sense to try to get together some folks from the Tech Academy, a representative or two from this commission, maybe some folks from the Veterans Affairs, give everybody a little bit of a say into what the final, go forward plan or the again, it doesn't have to be the final plan, but
Right.
what the go forward plan is for that park. I certainly wouldn't feel comfortable personally, dictating the things that should go there. This is something that I think there's a really big cross section of cities that goes by that uses it, that sees it, and that appreciates it. So I'd be in favor, obviously open to conversation. I'd really be in favor of trying to pull together maybe a half a dozen people from different areas that can all, represent the feelings of those individual entities. Any other thoughts on that?
Like, I was gonna say the same thing. I think, having the technical academy involved I think would be a home run. It would really give them a lot of experience with, working with different types of plants and, the maximum growth size, things of that nature. So I don't know how we would go about that, but I think getting the Tech Academy involved would be a great start.
Yeah, I agree. And I do think that as part of the project, I think that having the Tech Academy is a great idea, having them involved, having other representatives from the different organizations within the city, but then also maybe bringing in somebody like Scott, you mentioned from the University of Massachusetts, somebody in that, like, in my mind, I have seen Parker Park for the last, 45 years, right? Like, I know what Parker Park looks like. And in my mind, it's very difficult for me to imagine Parker Park looking different. So I feel like I at least personally would be a little limited in my ability to really kind of rethink what that would all look like. So I think it'd be good to have, some, at least somebody from outside the city, or maybe somebody that hasn't seen that park for the last X number of years, to weigh in on it as well. So Scott, I know you've been working with a few different folks on it. Maybe it makes sense that we put together a group here. I'm happy to.
Yeah, I'm friends with Nate. He runs the horticulture department. We're good buddies, and I've talked to him about it. The only problem, and I'm not being negative about it, is involving the Westfield Technical Academy. They're not available in the summer. They're gone early on, and it's difficult as far as getting using that. Whereas some of the other departments, they can actually go out and work in the summer, and they get they're getting credit. The kids are getting credit for it. Nate and I talked about it. He runs Nate's Ferry at the horticulture department. Talked about the obstacles he has, and that's one of them. Is trying to you start in the spring, and you know how it goes. All the plant material, everything, all happens. It just comes in, and school's over, and then they can't attack it again until fall when they come back. So that's the biggest problem I see with the technical academy. And then anybody else, like if you're going to get Levesque and Associates involved, there's, that's just for a design is $20,000 just to have them, put it on paper, and that's not including the actual build. So those are some of the issues. The water feature is in really tough shape. We're just kind of patching it together as we go. And, there's just a lot of things in there that need addressing. What we've done is great, and but it's just kind of, I don't know. It's good because you can actually go in there and it doesn't feel so cloistered. It's a lot more open. You can see in now too, which you couldn't do before, with those side plants taken out. So you can, it's a lot more open. I think people will be happy just for that change. And like, you couldn't even see those benches. If you want, we could try the planters and see how it looks for a while. Like I said, they're easy to put in, take out, move around, do whatever. I just want to let you know what was going on, some of the obstacles, some of the challenges.
Yeah. So I think we're going to leave it as is, obviously, at this point until the spring, and then revisit it. Maybe. Well, I think we should continue the conversation over the winter so that we know, come springtime, what our approach will be. But
sure.
But yeah, good improvements down there. with the removal of those bushes. I didn't think the removal of those bushes was gonna happen that quickly. But yeah, it's definitely much more open down there.
Yeah. And then we have,
I was gonna say anything else, Scott, from your report?
and what was the other? There was one other item. Oh, it was Cross Street. So we're having a little difficulty with the backflow preventer. There was when the contractor put it together, there's a part that was missing. He didn't put it in because it was going to make it too high. And anyway, hopefully we'll have that all set by the end of the week, but that's kind of a big deal. I mean, we had cold weather last year. This time, I just don't want to get stuck without that field getting blown out. I just wanted to let you know that I've been working with the water department and we should have that done by the end of the week. It is a big deal to get these blown out before we lose. Say we got a deep freeze and we lost every head. That wouldn't be good. So
this is the system in the new portion of the park.
Yes, the whole new system.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
Yeah.
Did you want to walk through Jim's report, Scott?
He had it. I don't have it in front of me. I thought he said he might be here. He's not here.
No, he doesn't appear to be here. I have it in front of me here if you want me to just to talk through it.
I think he has it spelled out for you. Yeah.
So Westfield Suburban basketball tryouts have been completed. Teams have been picked. We'll have 2 5th, 6th boys teams, 3 7, 8 grade boys teams, and 2 5, 6th grade girls teams, and 1 7, 8th grade girls team. Instructional and freshmen. Was there a question there? Okay, sorry, I thought I heard somebody. Instructional and freshman division. The 7 and 8 year old freshman division started last Wednesday. It is full with 48 players. The 5 6 year old instructional divisions start this week. Monday has 29 and Tuesday is full with 42. Westfield United basketball still taking signups. Last day to register is Friday, November 12th, and we will hold skills assessments next week. Basketball supervisors, Hunter King, Ian Lukazik, Cameron Scanlon, and Drew Dekarski have been hired as basketball supervisors. Parks winterization, natural resource personnel blew out the irrigation lines, and Corcoran Plumbing winterized the bathrooms at our parks and playgrounds. The only exception being Cross Street, which Scott just mentioned. And then field hockey is now over, as is Pee Wee soccer. So that is the update from Jim. That's the last meeting on the last item on the agenda. Next meeting is December 13th, 2021. So I hope everybody has a great holiday here at the end of the month. Appreciate everybody's time, and we'll talk to everybody soon. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn made by Scott and seconded by Ken. I'm assuming there's no discussion on that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening.